Hello, everybody, and welcome. It is Dear James and my fabulous co-host, the Lady Jaclyn, coming to you live with intuitive insights and human design guidance, and of course, the weekly energies. So as we kick off this Wednesday, this new year, and Jaclyn spoke about this last week, and of course, it's the Chinese New Year, so we'll get into all of that, but it is new, and we are joining you live. And as you know, we take your questions live throughout the broadcast, and that's really the main focus. We give you the weekly energies, but then the Lady Jaclyn and I are here to give you intuitive insights and human design guidance to your life questions. So, Jaclyn, how are you doing?
Hello, everybody. Listen, we can already see we're leveling up. We got different backgrounds. James is reminding us we're blessed. I'm doing so fantastically well. It's awesome to join you guys here today. And please, as always, in order for us to know that you are here, even if you're catching on the replay, leave us a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We love to connect with all of you all across the world. I still think this is absolutely fantastic that we're able to hold space with you guys. It makes my week. James, it makes my week.
It's Wonderful Wednesdays, as one of our listeners said. She labeled it Wonderful Wednesdays, and it is always such a joy to be with you all, and we just love doing this. And we really, really, really appreciate that you tune in and join us, and that you actually share your time with us as well. So thank you for doing that right up front. And also right up front, just to let everybody know, Jaclyn and I are offering a 50-50. It's 30 minutes of a human design guidance reading and 30 minutes of intuitive insights with myself. So we offer that. We'll share the link. The link is in the description for the show. And so those are one-on-ones. Those are going to be private. So you'll have a one-on-one with Jaclyn, a one-on-one with myself. And that's something that we offer. So if that's of interest to you as well as we move forward, by all means check it out and have that experience as well, because they're pretty amazing and very synchronistic. So as we are.
It still grapples my mind. My mind wants to logically process how we don't prepare together and we come together, and yet the message flows. There's this beautiful golden thread that allows the message to flow so beautifully. And it's just, this is why it lights my soul up, honestly. Your intuitive guidance and then the human design, and we put it all together, and it's great messages. Great messages.
And it's also, Jaclyn, a really great reminder, because truly, Jaclyn and I do not coordinate ahead of time. We sit down and we just come to Wednesdays and we say, okay, here's what I've been guided to by the universe to put forth. Here's what Jaclyn is guided to put forth from a human design for the collective. And it's the beauty of the synchronicity of that. And that is something to remind all of you. The unseen is always present. It is always working with us, through us, and for us. And so when you think that, I want to send a message to somebody, or, I have a thought about them, watch how you can think about them and send them this positive sense of love or joy or comfort or a message, and watch how they receive it. And you didn't text them, you didn't call them, right, Jaclyn? It's this, and this is what we're talking about. This is the part of the unseen that we are still learning, that we're all still, we're cognizant of the fact that it exists, that it's real, and yet it's unseen. And yet it's a part of us. It's such a beautiful reminder. So we don't always have to pick up the phone or send a text or an email or something. We can simply send a message, and it's received. It's heard.
Absolutely. And I spoke about this, I don't know if it was last week's show or the week before, but that energy, that tapping into that energy, the embodiment of the energy, right? And when you're dealing with people, instead of trying to physically deal with them, try energetically deal with them, right? And that's exactly what you're talking about. Yes. So if, for example, you have to have a difficult conversation with someone, warm them up already by tapping into their energy and kind of saying, I'm lovingly wanting to have a conversation with you. Are you, ready for me? And watch how everything just starts to unfold. And that's exactly what James is talking about with this energy. And explains the synchronicity, because we're tuning into one another constantly. And when we come
Yes.
together and we share the insights, it's just, I mean, it's so on point that it's magic. And that's exactly what it is. It's the magic
It's
of
magic.
synchronicity.
Absolutely. It's the magic of the unseen, of synchronicity. It is the awe of the universe. So let's jump in, Jaclyn.
Absolutely.
We see E.O. Darley Morton. Hello from France. Welcome. And we have Haley joining us. Hi, James and Jaclyn. Yay, it's Wednesday. Go ahead, Jaclyn.
And then Lori is from snowy and icy Illinois. Lori, it actually started raining today, and I'm so thankful because we've had a heat wave. Don't want to kind of make you feel bad. But hello, thank you so much for joining us. And then so excited to be here for this wonderful Wednesday. And then Haley also says, you are so synchronized, it's almost scary. It is. And then we also have Amy in the house, and she says, hello, everybody.
Yes, and just Lori, I am a kindred spirit with you right now. Normally, I am in Los Angeles in California. I'm out here for an extended stay visiting my family in Colorado. So I am straight. We have like, I think right now it's 7 or 8 degrees Fahrenheit, snowing since last night. So Lori in Illinois is getting the same thing we're getting, except she got it first because it's coming down from Canada. And so I'm laughing because it's like, and with the wind chill, it's like minus whatever. And I'm like, ha 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 ha. And I go, yeah, okay.
No, you can gladly keep your wind chill, hey?
Yes,
like,
exactly.
I will take heat wave over wind chill any day.
Hello, Bissa from Minnesota. So see, we're directly aligned. Illinois, Minnesota, Illinois, Colorado. We're getting this wonderful Canadian cold front, snow, winter. So yeah, hi, blessed. We're blessed. So Jaclyn, you want to jump in because we also, everybody listening, remember, if you've got your questions, please place them in the comments so that we can address them throughout the broadcast. And Jaclyn, why don't you kick off with the human design guidance for the collective?
I would love to. So we have just come from Venus being in retrograde. And so now it's gone direct. Mercury is going direct, is stationing direct tomorrow. I'm going to be talking a bit about that Mercury gate of 61, but I first want to start with the Sun gate that is in, or the Sun, which has the gate placement of gate 13, right? So gate 13 is asking the question, what wisdom have you learned and gained from the past? Now, the last month and a bit, we know that the retrograde planets, it was actually more like 2.5 months actually. The retrograde planets have really asked us to dig deep, right? To kind of reconnect, to relook, to reframe. Everything's right? So it's going back to the past to uncover the wisdom, the lessons, the transformation that was possible while you did the work. So the question that gate 13 is really asking you as you move into this forward moving motion. Can you feel it already? Can you feel that forward moving motion already? It's asking you to look at what is the wisdom that you can look at, or that you can, I want to say, recollect and kind of see what have you learned from the past 2 months, the past 6 months, the past year, right? It is the start of the new year. We spoke a bit about that last week, where the energy actually, the new year actually starts towards the end of January and not the beginning of January, and hence February almost feels like a new year. And we know James has already told us that the Chinese New Year is already upon us. So that newness is asking us to look at what wisdom have we learned and gained from the past, so that you can then move forward in a way that is aligned to where you're actually wanting to go, where your soul is actually wanting you to go. If you really look at the videos of the last couple of weeks, there's key themes that kind of get highlighted. We spoke a bit about passion. What is your passion right now? What do you feel passionate about right now, right? There's a reason for that, because of this forward moving motion, now you can gain the wisdom, or you've gained the wisdom. Now you can actually have the awareness of what wisdom you've gained. Then you can understand what your passion is. You can put them together and you can pave a way forward for where your soul is wanting to take you. right? This is a time for you to want to live life to its fullest. So maybe you're starting to feel like, actually, hold on, I want to experiment. I want to experience. I mean, you can see myself and James, we're experimenting with different backgrounds. We're experimenting with the new show tomorrow. So it's also having the experience, right? It's about gaining the wisdom, following your passion to direct you in the direction that you're designed to go based on how you feel, not what you think, right? And then also it's also about listening. So the gate 13 is about listening. If you've got it defined in your chart, you're the type of person, actually, so have a look in your chart, see if it's defined meaning it's colored in. If that gate 13 is defined for you, you're naturally a person who is a great listener, a person who gets told stories, intimate stories about people that you maybe never even met before. Like you hold the secrets of everybody around you, right? So it is also that energy is asking us to listen, to tune in, to tap into. And we started the conversation with that energetic kind of experiment of tapping into the energy frequency of that which is around you, of the people that are around you, of the opportunities of the universe, the matrix that people like to talk about as well. So really look and listen to what the universe, what life is wanting to show you and wanting to share with you as you move forward. So this is a reminder for you to take a step back and listen. As much as you want to take action, there's going to be the right time for action, and you will know because the truth will be uncovered for you on what inspired action you need to take as you move forward. And that then brings me to the gate 61, which is in Mercury. Now we know that Mercury has been in retro. It has slowed us down tremendously. And as it moves direct in this gate 61, again, it's asking you to understand and know what you can control, to shift away from trying to force things to happen in your life and actually stand in your true power of knowing and trusting that things unfold in the right timing, right? There's a divine timing. James always talks about the plan, not our plan, right? So the key themes, just highlighting again, is listening. So it's becoming patient. It is gaining gaining awareness of what wisdom you've learned. What have you noticed? What patterns can you now change to pave the way forward of where you're wanting to go based on what your passions are? It's all about the experience of life, but also standing in your power and trusting and knowing that the uncertainty that you still may be feeling will come, the answers will come at the right time. So you don't have to force, you don't have to control. And even though it also actually, because the gate 13 has a bit of secrets, so you might be noticing there's a lot of secrets coming out, collectively within, life, within the community that you're in, within your country. Maybe there's certain turmoils that are coming out because it needs to be birthed. It needs to come out so that we can clear, so that we can step into a newness, right? But it is also reminding you that even though you might be going through any turmoil or any kind of situation right now, especially with the Mercury retrograde that really shuffled a lot of us, this is a time to remain optimistic. So where you focus your energy, that's where your attention, that's where, that's where the seed is going to be, is going to grow. So kind of just check in and see how can you maintain that state, that emotional well-being of empowerment, rather than getting stuck in the try to control, I'm feeling overwhelmed about all the turmoil and crisis. Because if you really embody the truth, there is no such thing as turmoil and crisis, right? It's all just a clearing out so that you make space for the new. Does that make sense? There's a lot happening there, a lot of messages.
I absolutely. You all can't see me at the moment because I had full screen for Jaclyn and everything, and I'm smiling and nodding my head the whole time, and I'm laughing because, again, the synchronicity of this, of the messaging, Jaclyn, gate 13, and how today is February 2nd, 2022, all these twos. And the two is, of course, the receptive force. It's the divine feminine. The number 13, M, the letter M, is the 13th letter. And the M corresponds with the Great Mother, the divine feminine. So, and in this, the divine feminine 2022 is about all of this abundance, all of this, it's Jupiterian, it's this, here, Jupiter is in Pisces. So there's this amazing thing that we're coming into this new. And it's also, when you were talking about gate 13 and everything, it instantly reminded me of this beautiful, after Master Jesus had risen, he came back and was speaking to the 12 apostles. And there's this beautiful, they're basically asking him, where are we going? Where are we going? And we're talking about the new. And here's this new year, it's happening now. And he says to them, you ask, and you were talking about Mercury retrograde and the retrogrades and looking back and everything. And he says to them, you ask where you're going without knowing where you've been. Mm-hmm. And it's so powerful because the whole message from the universe, so here's all this synchronicity about 13 and M and the twos and all of that. And it's talking and it's speaking to the fact that we're moving into this new beginnings, begin anew is the overall message, the theme. And the twos and the divine feminine, the receptive force leading, as we talked about. And yet, it's going to be very important for everyone to realize we need to know where we've been in order to know where we're going. And the key word, because in all of these twos, the month and the day, 2, 2, is 22. It's a prime number, and it is the most powerful prime number. And so built into this, and then hexagram 22 is all about, hexagram 22 is about grace. It is literally grace, and it means accept. And so as we watch the past, so we're all in our individual lives right now, and everyone is dealing with something. And we're seeing the world dealing with all of these things. So whether it's our governments, whether it's world, countries, the whole Russia-Ukraine crisis and everything, and how that's playing out, all these different things are in our own lives. But hexagram 22 reminds us of grace. So we have all of these twos that are about the divine feminine, Jupiterian. It's all about prosperity, abundance, the new. We have, funny enough, Jaclyn, you and I both, first thing I wrote down, and I'm bouncing a little bit, but follow me, the Chinese New Year. It is the year of the water tiger. Think about the divine feminine, water, giving birth, water, and the beauty, and it's a yin year. So it is a feminine year. And so here it is, and yet we have fire. We have elements of fire. We have Mars in Earth. There's 4 planets in Earth signs. So we're going to see action, tangible action this year, tangible expansion, tangible change, tangible prosperity, abundance, things that have to do with joy, bliss. The way is grace. The way we deal, the way 2 is through, the way we deal with this is through grace. And the whole point of grace is acceptance. The hidden influence is hexagram 40. It's liberation. It's to untangle. So it's literally to untangle. So Jaclyn was talking about how the Mercury retrograde and all these things of re-looking, revisiting, it's to know where we've been so as to know where we're going. So as to liberate ourselves from the past, to liberate ourselves, to untangle ourselves from the past. The underlining cause in hexagram 22 is hexagram 47, which is oppression and exhaustion, known as adaptation. So to adapt. So here we are, we can see we're going to throw off our enslavement. We're going to throw off our tiredness, our exhaustion of everything that's going around. How? By grace. It's about grace. So, and they talk about the fact if a man, woman carefully examines his thoughts, he, she will be surprised to find how much he, she lives in the future. His, her well-being is always ahead. So we can see that it is about the future. It's not about the past. This is not about us going, quote unquote, back to normal, going back. No, it's about adapting, liberating ourselves, untangling ourselves from the past so as to receive the future. And Jaclyn, you were just speaking about this next part, which is epic in its synchronicity. It says, the master, about hexagram 22, the master said, untangle the knots and soften the glare. This means if you stalk life with a scowl expecting difficulty, you will find it. When meeting oppression, we had the opportunity to learn to adapt or make changes to better fit in with the changes around us. But now it is time to connect with your inner source of light. And you were speaking, Jaclyn, about your soul source connection. Like everything that is now, everything that is new is about connecting with your soul. Grace is an attitude of acceptance that radiates outwardly as joy, regardless of what is unfolding around you. We know that the old is falling away. We know the new is upon us and is arriving, and we know what it looks like and feels like and what its opportunity is. When we operate from a state of grace, it doesn't matter really what's falling away around us, because we know we're in a state of divine neutrality. So it speaks about anxiety and constant worry can make you unattractive both inside and out. You can cover yourself with nice clothes and possessions, but if the scowl remains, you remain unattractive. The hidden influence of liberation from worry is at the heart of Taoism, because if you are following life on its terms with an accepting attitude, you will discover more and lose less. The greatest lesson grace teaches you is that no amount of outward adorning will ever conceal what is going on inside of you. If you want to attract others to you, begin within. Loving self makes one loving. Accepting the way makes one accepting. When you have no preconceived expectations, you will open to the beauty of grace. Brilliant inner beauty is like a magnet that others can't resist. If circumstances are less than favorable, turn within and release the expectations that are making your outlook hardened. You were just speaking about this, Jaclyn. Take a breath and return to the moment. You may have the opportunity for grace to shine down upon you where your wish is granted. And so the beauty of hexagram 22 and all of these twos is this moment of transition, this moment of beginning anew, of the new, is about operating from a state of grace, a state of bliss, of harmony, and radiating that from the inside out. And last but not least, the overall message. I said, what's the overall message for everyone? And they said, yield to the world unfolding before you and within you. So here's this beauty of acceptance. It's really such a beautiful statement of the time. And so here we are. And this is why, sorry, I got to get my fingers in the right direction. Blessed. Because it's a blessed moment, Jaclyn. It's so exciting because this is what's arriving. Even though it looks like mayhem and chaos and craziness and everything, that's okay. That need not be our interior state of being.
Do you just repeat the overall message again quickly? Because when you said it, I was like, goosebumps.
They said, yield to the world unfolding before you, the world unfolding within you. So
I mean, like we could literally have like a full-on show talking about that one statement, right? Because that ties into the idea of awakening. And this is what we started, like way back when we started the show. We were talking about the new, awakening to the new, letting go of the old self. And with that process, it's like the overall message seems to be that exact thing. It's releasing control. It's releasing the identification of the old self. And with that comes trust and patience and knowing that it's not about, well, I want to kind of say, because I want to be conscious of the words that I choose, but it's letting go of the idea that it has to be easy and what is easy actually, you know? So it's kind of like, what is easy, what is difficult, what is hard, what is struggle, right? Because in order to have transformation, think of a seed. I keep I'm visualizing the whole time. I keep seeing the seed being planted, and the seed has got to sprout through, the ground. And that's not think of a birthing process. It's not a easy, for lack of a better word, process or transformation, but it's necessary. So in order for you to really step into your truth, the universe is giving you situations right now that will remind you of the truth, which is that you can control how you feel in every single moment, which then dictates the behavior of how you respond. So if a person cuts you off in traffic, exactly what James said, take a moment and breathe. It happened to me actually a few times today. I nearly literally witnessed like a massive accident, and I literally looked at it, and instead of going into that old self of trying to react, right, trying to respond, I actually took a deep breath, and I was like, I don't know what those souls are going through right now, but I'm sending them so much blessings and so much love, because they really need it. And for me, it was in that moment, and then I was out of the moment, and then I continued to the next now moment. And that's exactly it. It's like the transformation, the growth is getting you to shift from what no longer serves you, which is that reactive, that force, that control, that negative shadow masculine energy, and stepping into the positive, empowering, balanced dance between that masculine and feminine, right? Of receiving, of inspired action, of receiving, of inspired action. And it's just, so beautiful.
Which is grace. I mean, what you just described, you exercised grace.
Mm-hmm.
And grace is beauty. It is a feminine attribute. When we act with grace, we don't need to meet aggression with aggression, hostility with hostility, anger with anger. We can just simply stop and say, okay, and allow the abundance. It's like they're giving me when you go through a drive-through in the United States, and you pull up and you get to the window, and they say, okay, this is your order, and usually you need to pay. And instead they say, oh, the car in front of you paid for you. There's a beauty, there's an abundance, there's this positive ripple. And you say, and most times what happens is, and they've watched this and it continues, and they say, okay, I'd like to pay for the car behind me. And so on and so on. And it continues. That is a state of course, of joy, of harmony, of abundance, prosperity, of goodness. And it's also it's the opposite of this state of hostility. And so when we stop and act with grace, and that's why then we're able to see, well, what's really going on, as you just articulated, Jaclyn. Maybe I don't know what this soul is going through. Maybe they are really having it today. So let me act with grace with them. And again, we don't have to know a passing car that cuts us off or whatever. But we also don't have to have road rage and firing weapons at them and so forth. We can offer them that, as we talked about at the very top of the hour, that unseen state of love. I'm sending you love. I'm sending you safety, happiness. I'm sending you calm. And they'll receive it. And that ripples like the driveway in the fast food. They receive it. That means the next person they encounter, they're going to be an octave lower because they received that blessing. This is the thing that we forget, right?
It's interesting because the Gate 13 actually also talks about empathy, and it's really embodying empathy. It's like understanding the other. And I know empathy is a word that's kind of being thrown across the table quite loosely, and people have this very broad understanding of what empathy actually is. But in a nutshell, it's about you walking a mile in someone else's shoes just for a moment, so that you can kind of see, oh, maybe they might be going through something that I can't see, but I can feel. Or maybe I can understand what they're going through because of the wisdom that I've gained from the past experience that I had. So let me listen to them, let me guide them. Can you see how that's that play? And it actually ties in beautifully with, sorry, I don't know how to say your name exactly, but Eodali Morton asking a question. I want to jump in, James, if that's cool.
Absolutely.
So they said, I feel like I'm getting tested. Is this part of the question? Is this part of the question I need to look at? I still feel fear with moving forward, what can I do to break free from the fear? So what I did was I pulled up chart and manifesting generator, and the first thing when we look at human design and we look at anything to do with fear, we look at the splenic center. So that is the center on the left hand side of the chart. It would be defined, colored in brown if there's definition, and it will be open or white if it's open or undefined, right? You've got yours defined, which means you have a consistent way of dealing with your intuition. Basically, in a nutshell, you're very intuitive, right? You've also got a very powerful gut response. Now, when we're looking at fear, we can kind of see, okay, what fears are coming up for you based on if you've got definition or if it is open. Now, for you, with your definition, you've got a few gates defined. So let's walk through them quickly, because a lot of times this happens for most people. Even if you don't have them defined, you're actually also absorbing the energy sometimes from the transits or from someone else that might have that definition. So you'll experience this as well. So for you, the definition is in the 48, the 57, the 44, and the 22, right? So in a nutshell, fear, you first got to have that awareness of what fear is coming up for you, right? So you're fearing the moving forward. So when we look at your fear, you can see, well, it's fear of I'm not going to be able to cope, 57. I don't know enough. I feel inadequate, 48. 44 is what happens if the past repeats itself, right? That fear of I can't happen again. Like I can't actually go forward this way because I went this way last time and this is what happened, right? Keeps you stuck. And then that fear of failure. What happens if I go here and I fail? So it's kind of keeping you in that limbo. Now let's look at, because that's the shadow, that's a lower frequency of those gates. Remember, there's always polarity. Let's look at the positives. So the positives that it's giving you is that you're able to identify patterns. So you're able to see where you need to adjust in order to move forward. So instead of you worrying and wallowing and getting lost and caught up in your mind about it's not going to work, I'm not going to be able to cope, what happens if what's the future going to look like, I'm not good enough, right? What happens if I fail? I'm inviting you to step into the knowing that you are gifted with knowing exactly what needs to happen and what needs to be adjusted in order to meet your goal, right? That in of itself, that's just the gate 44. That in of itself is power, because if you really stand and embody that truth in your knowing that you can actually identify where you need to shift, what needs to happen in order for you to get closer to where you're wanting to go, I mean, that's magic. Then it's giving you the intuitive knowing in the moment what your next inspired step or what action you're needing to take in the moment, in the now moment. In order for you to embody that, however, you got to get out of your mind and you got to trust your body. You got to trust your intuition. Intuition is not in the mind. When we're in that fight or flight, that fear of I'm too scared to move forward, we get lost in our mind, we overthink, we overprocess, and we actually quiet down our intuition. Our intuition is there for us, but you got to tap into it. You got to trust it. You got to bring it up so that it's louder for you. How you do that? Practical. Take deep breaths. Get back to the center, this now moment, right? Your mind wants to go to the future what ifs. Get back into your body by going to the present moment of what's real right now, right? What can I do right now that is going to make me feel good? Because the more you feel good, the more you're going to be magnetic and the more opportunities are going to come to you, right? And then also knowing that you have the depth of knowing and understanding based on your intuition, based on your open head and anja, that allows you to gain the answers when the timing is right. I've given you just 3. There's plenty more that we can dive into your chart about and we can unlock more of. But if you just take away those 3, if you rewatch this, if you write that down, and if you commit to yourself and say, I'm going to use my magnetic energy and I'm going to use my hyper speed, because you're a manifesting generator, and I'm going to experiment with this idea of stepping into my knowing, my confidence that I will know exactly what needs to happen to get me to move forward. I will trust that I know enough to get me to move forward. And I know that what needs to be readjusted in order to get me to move forward, and that I'm resilient that doesn't matter what happens, I'm releasing expectations because I'm on the right path. If you can just do that, oh my goodness, like you are going to absolutely flare. Let us know if that helps you, if that resonates. I'd really, oh, Elizabeth, there we go. Thank you, Elizabeth. Let me know if that resonates for you. I'd love to know. James, is something coming up for you?
Yes, so Elizabeth, so again, there's a couple messages for you, and one is simply, and I'm back again, you want to know where you're going without knowing where you've been. And one can say, yes, you can say, I know where I've been. I know my experiences. And so this is important for you to realize. Everywhere you go, it's that beautiful idiom, that statement, everywhere you go, there you are. So this is really, again, as Jaclyn just said too, it's really about full faith and trust. Full faith and trust that you have everything within you at every given moment. You're never without. You always have your soul source connection. And thereby, this really boils down to, do I trust myself? Do I trust myself? It is not about, and thereby, because what you know it's time. You know it's time to move forward. To go is the way they're saying it to me. You know it's time to go. This then is just simply this piece, which of course all of us, it's not simple, and I understand that. I don't mean to make light levity of it. Anytime we move forward, we change locations, places, leave a relationship, it's very, there's all the second guessing, there's all the turmoil, the internal turmoil and everything. And yet, which is all mind, that's all monkey mind, and it's all up top. And then there's that internal knowing. Knowing it's time to go, or it's time to move forward, it's time to release, it's time to receive something. We know. It's just the mental aspect. So I also want to invite you, they're saying, you use the phrase, I'm getting tested. Change the word tested to I'm being given an opportunity. I'm being given the opportunity to rise, to ascend. I'm done with this lesson. I'm ready for the next opportunity, the next expansion, the next ascension of my being, of myself. And yes, it's scary. It will always be scary. And yet, fear is your friend. Are you using fear, the energy of fear, as a catalyst, as a motivator, or as an immobilizer? It's either going to move you to expand, or it's going to keep you in place to contract. So, and I'm reminded again, Elizabeth, of all the sevens in your birth chart, of your birthday. All of this magic. Jaclyn and I were talking about at the top of the hour, magic, your magic. And that's that soul source connection magic. So use that in this instance to sustain you, to guide you, to know that you have what it takes. And yes, just like this change, this transition that we're all going through, it's the old saying, sometimes quote unquote it gets worse before it gets better, but that's just because we're moving through something. It's not really bad. It's uncomfortable. It's change. Humans don't like change. So they want it all to be the way it was, or just can't you do what you need to do and I'll do, and can't you, and can't you, and can't you? And the answer is, look in the mirror when you say, can't you? Because the only person that needs to can't you is you. That's true for all of us. It's not about the other person. They're a mirror. If they're stuck, if they're stagnating, if that's where they are and where they want to be, all you have to do is look in the mirror and say lovingly, can't you move forward? And it's a beautiful gift that you give yourself. It's a beautiful opportunity. It's not a test, it's an opportunity. So let us know if that resonates, Elizabeth. And she indicated, yes, that helps so much, Jaclyn, with what you gave her. We have Natalie saying hello from Cape Town, and Amy had said earlier, technically it is the new year. Vicky is joining us from Kansas. Hello from Kansas. It's a snow day. See, the whole Midwest of the U.S. is getting snow, Jaclyn. So glad now I can listen to you live. Wonderful to have you with us, Vicky, and everybody. Jesse.
I think it's
Oh, sorry,
I think
Jaclyn, go
it's
ahead.
no problem. I think it's really powerful that you kind of gave us all the reminder of being conscious about how or what words we choose and what story we keep talking about or we keep telling ourselves, right? And that idea of remember we spoke about, in order to have the transformation, in order to have the growth, you gotta that seed has got to go through the fertile soil, the uncomfortableness. It's got to go through that birthing process in order to grow and then flower or bear fruit. So the idea of you being tested, and I mean, I'm speaking to myself as well. It's like so many times I'm like, okay, why? Like I have get 61, so I'm always asking why. Like, why, universe? Why is this working like this? Or why is this not happening, right? That why, though, is that's a disempowering why, right? So instead of stepping into an empowering aspect, the reframe, the new self, letting go of the old pattern is going, okay, so this is a situation that I've been faced with. Well, first of all, the truth is that everything that you encounter, not only was it in your soul's contract, we spoke about this also. James actually spoke about that. It's like reading the fine print, but we're reading the fine print in this human experience, but it is in your soul contract. So the idea is you're not given something because you can't deal with it. So you're being given with something. So it's almost like the first step should be gratitude. Oh, okay, the situation is coming up because I'm strong enough right now to be able to deal with it, because this is going to be the catalyst for my change. This is going to get me to where I'm wanting to go. Not where I think I need to go, but where I'm wanting to go, where my soul is leading me to go. Because that's the new that we're talking about. It's being soul-led, shifting away from that ego-led, that hustle, that force, that control, and stepping into your power of being soul-led, of embodying grace that James so beautifully reminded. Makes
And
sense?
yes, and Jaclyn, again, they're reminding me of, remember, your soul, our souls, will never lead you astray. It will always be for your highest and best. So again, it's not a test. The why. It's an opportunity. The soul is leading you to a higher state of being, a higher state of expansion, ascension. It can only do that. What colors it or discolors it from that is the mental, the ego, the mind saying it's judgment, it's our perception, it's what we've learned. Oh, so this is bad and I'm being punished and it's a test and oh my God, and what this is happening to me. No, reframe all of that. Even as challenging as it is, look at the world, look at the state of things or a relationship. We may be cleaving to a way it was. We may be cleaving to a way our mind wants it to be. However, when we stop and we say, there's that deep breath that Jaclyn is talking about. You take that deep breath, you stand back in a state 22, hexagram 22. You stand back in a state of grace, acceptance. My soul, only highest and best. It can only operate one way, for my highest and best. Okay, what is the opportunity in this moment? What is it that I need to accept? What is it that I need to embrace, release? What is on offer for me? What is it that my soul and my guides and my higher self and all this wonderful team on the unseen is trying to help me to receive, to get to? The pearl, the wisdom, the gift. And then when we're ready, when we're okay, and yes, again, it's scary, yes, because it means it's going to change. We are going to change, our situation's going to change, the world's going to change. So yes, it comes with fear, but the fear doesn't have to be negative, and the change doesn't have to be negative, because it's an opportunity. It will always, if your soul is leading, which it is, So when you put your mind and ego away, right, Jaclyn? When we park, put elf on the, what is it? Put elf on the shelf, take your mind, ego, all that good stuff. Put elf on the shelf, okay. And listen to your soul. And your soul's gonna speak to you and say, with grace and beauty, here's what you said you wanted, or here's what's on offer. And we know it's scary, but we're right here. Now just take the steps, take the steps, take the steps. And I guarantee you, I have done this many times. And when you get through, when you get to the other side of it, every time you will look back and say, what took you so long? Why did I wait? Why did I make so much of that? Why? Because, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And that's what's on the other side. But as you've said, Jaclyn, we have to walk through the uncomfortableness, and it's the beauty. We've all seen images probably where you see concrete slabs or some form of like a stone or something, and there's barely a crack in it. And all of a sudden you see the beauty of a sprout or a little flower or a sapling coming through what seems formidable, impossible. And yet all it needed was that little gap. That little opening that said, which is for a human is like that little bit of faith, that little bit of determination. Okay. And all of a sudden, boom, it sprouts regardless of its surroundings, and it blooms, it flowers. So beautiful. Haley has a question.
Absolutely.
Jaclyn.
Haley. I'm trying to figure out what I need to do to use my gifts. I feel like this should be connecting with spirit. What are your thoughts, James and Jaclyn? And then she obviously gives the details. Do you want me to go ahead and do human design first?
Absolutely. Jump in.
Okay. So Haley, manifestor energy. Listen, I love manifestor energy because it's big and it's beautiful. The one thing though, about being a manifestor is that you got to reconnect with your big and beautiful and powerful aura. So your question, when I look at your chart, the first thing that really pops out, or based on your question, first of all, is I'm trying to figure out. So that's a mind. It's mental energy. And we know based on the collective energy right now with what's happening in the transits is we've got to reconnect with the knowing and the trust that everything unfolds in the right timing. So for you, the first thing is, and I'm saying this with so much understanding because you've got a defined mind and anja, which means your mind is constantly busy and you're thinking thoughts. I think it feels like sometimes your mind never shuts off, right? Because there's constant energy flow there. So you have a busy mind, which is not a bad thing. The thing for you though to remember is instead of trying to think your way to the next step, to try and figure it out, feel it out, right? So feel into your body, tap into your body. Now, already you said, which is your next sentence, I feel like this should be connecting with spirit. So can you see how your mind wants to take control to try and figure out the answer? But your body, your soul, your truth is coming through when you relax the mind and you step into your truth and know that you're here to be impactful. So I feel like this should be connecting with spirit. Well, if that's a feeling and it inspires you, it puts you at peace because as a manifestor, you're constantly striving for that peace, right? That's your key indicator when you're in alignment is you're feeling peace, right? So if you kind of say to yourself, I'm going to utilize my gift by connecting with spirit and I'm going to allow that the answer will unfold. How does that make you feel? Not what you think you need to do in order to make it manifest, because you will manifest when you're at peace. You are going to manifest into your reality everything that you desire because you are worthy, because you're abundant, because you're designed to be impactful. So the most important thing is knowing and understanding that shifting from the mind into the body and then kind of stepping into your truth, which is also because you have the channel 1156, you're a vessel of ideas and insight. So, and that also is actually also known as the channeling channel. So it's a lot of spiritual, like psychics or people who get downloads or inspirations have those channels as well, have that channel defined. So kind of tap in to kind of see, what is it that, you know, spirit wants to show you? What is it that life wants to show you? What ideas are coming to you, maybe through your dreams, maybe visualizations, maybe acoustically, right? And then kind of see where you're maybe trying to figure it out, because there might be a bit of fear. Am I going to be able to cope? Do I actually know enough? It's like that imposter syndrome. Am I actually connecting? You know, that might be potential. That's kind of like what I'm feeling for you. It's like, or maybe you've been told, no, you can't so much, not necessarily in the area like I can't connect, but maybe you can't, like you're not powerful enough, you don't know enough, like you're not accredited, right? All of those stories that are coming up for you. So check in with yourself and see, where am I holding myself back based on my belief about what I'm truly capable of? Because the truth is that I'm a manifester. I'm designed to be impactful. I'm a vessel for ideas that there are so many ideas that you yourself cannot manifest all of them in this lifetime. So you're not designed to manifest all of your ideas. You're designed also to pass along those ideas. And those ideas might be insights, might be guidance, might be breakthroughs for somebody else. Can you see how it's also the channeling channel, right? So you know the answer already. I think it was just a permission for you to step into your personal power as a manifester. That is the one thing I see with clients, especially when they're manifestors, is the collective, the way that we were brought up. They weren't strong enough to understand what a manifestor energy actually was. So that idea of, you know, you were raised like, you know, no, you're a kid, you don't know what you're talking about, or no, you're not accredited, or you don't know enough, or no, you know, that kind of energy. You've been, I want to say, a bit of suppressed. Now it's your job in this human experience to stand back into your personal power, that gift that you were born with, that vibrant, impactful energy that is designed to utilize your gift, and you know that already. So that's what came through for me, is really that permission slip to kind of step back into your truth, because you already know it. Like, I don't need to tell you, because manifestors don't like to be told what to do. That's another thing about manifestors. Like, don't tell a manifestor what to do. It's so interesting, because I got two like both my parents are manifestors, and my mom. Like, I'm a projector, so I want to guide, like I want to help. I can see, I'm like, oh, please let me guide you. And then my mom's like, no, don't tell me what to do. And then I can see it, because manifestors, they don't like getting told what to do. So think about it in this way. Where have you been told what to do or how to do it, and you've been following somebody else's direction or journey for you, instead of standing in your own personal truth, because you know you have a unique perspective, a gift that you're designed to share. Does it make sense?
Beautiful. And right on target. Because this is why I love human design and the unseen coming together. Because it's basically, Haley, they were inviting you to remember, and Jaclyn just articulated it. They're reminding you, and this is true for everyone listening, your soul, it already is. So this is about remembering, remembering, coming together with what your soul already knows. It's already the plan. There's already one there. And yes, there are multiple possibilities of where life will take you. However, it's not to get lost in the mind, in the ego, in the personality. And as Jaclyn was talking about, you know, do I have the accreditation, and do I have this, and do I have that, and la 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 la. See, that's all monkey mind. That's all chatter and static. When you just stop and listen to your soul knows. And as Jaclyn articulated, it's a feeling. It's a knowing. It's not the mental chatter. It is the knowing. It's the unseen. And so they are really inviting you. So as you spoke about this, you know, I'm trying to figure out, that's mind, because you're thinking. And then to use my gifts, it's to remember them, rejoin with them, become one with them. And the only way that will happen is if you trust them. You trust what you know inside. You got to trust yourself. The knowing, not the chatter. That's that piece. Then connecting with spirit, that it has something to do with spirit. Yes, because everything is a soul source connection. Everything is already present. It's already there. So all you're wanting to do is make peace with your, they're saying, make peace with the ego. People forget it's not one or the other. It's not all or nothing. We're just meant to lead with our soul now. We're meant to align, to listen, let the soul drive. The ego, the mind, the personality has been in the front seat for quite some time. Well, now it's time for the ego, the mind, the personality to take a back seat and let the soul lead. And we have to trust our soul. So you'll know, the knowing is you're going to know. Manifestor, you're going to know. Then you've got to trust it. You've got, and the only way, it's up to you. Trust. And even when the mind starts going, and this happened with me. I had a previous life in real estate and design, development, everything, really loving it, wonderful, all of that. Kept getting the tap, tap, tap to, become Dear James, to do this. And there was this whole piece in my head, all these conversations and kind of the stigma that goes with a psychic and all that stuff. And you see it in shops and whatever, it's turbans and unicorns and, all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. But that was my mind, the personality, the ego. I'm not doing that. And when I finally just quieted and I listened, I instantly received, I saw an image of Dear Abby, Dear Ann Landers. And I was like, oh, Dear James. Okay, yes, I can do that. And I can marry all of these other aspects of design and interiors and real estate and development and all of that to this new James, to Dear James, to wrap yourself in goodness. So this was the beauty about what they're sharing. It's not all or nothing. It's not like when you do this, Haley, it's not that the old you is disconnected from the new you that has this feeling of spirit and service and so forth. They're not disconnected. They're not, one has to go and the other one. The only thing that has to happen is the soul lead. Allow your soul to lead and then trust it. That is most important because as Jaclyn's identifying in your human design chart and as they're saying to you, we have everything we need because it was already planned. The soul has it. What is free will? What's choice is how and when we experience what we experience, how quickly we experience things, how quickly do we move through our life experiences. That's really what the free will is. And now, of course, the energy of the world is shifting. It is shifting to this receptive force, this listening and being guided because it's so empowering. And we just have to trust it. Please let us know if that resonates.
She actually did. She said, thank you so much, Jaclyn. That's exactly what I needed to hear. Needing to plan steps is what is making me question things. And then she also commented, that's perfect too. Thank you so much, James. Trust is something I've got to do more. We are so glad that it resonates. Yay, this is exactly why we love doing what we're doing. So we are basically ending off. And as we end off, I want to kind of give you guys a question. So in the comment section, let's set the intention for the energy that we're wanting to embody for the next couple of days. So for the next week, until we see you again next week, what is the energy that you're wanting to embody? I'm going to drop a emoji in the comments. So pick your emoji of the energy that you're wanting to embody. Drop it in the comments so that we can set the intention and we know that where your energy, where your focus goes, your energy flows. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yes, that is it. What you focus on is what you experience. It's absolutely.
Exactly. So let's put it in. If you want to do more than one emoji, you're more than welcome. I always do more than one emoji. I'm going to drop it in the comment section. What I'm wanting to embody, the energy that I'm wanting to embody drop your emojis in the comment section. That is your way of setting the intention for the next couple of days.
And remember that with this beginning anew, we always have the opportunity of grace. Utilize grace with yourself, utilize it with others, because again, the beauty of it is to untangle, to expand, and to adapt. And so this is the piece. It's the way to, it's the way through, and so this is what's on tap and offer. And the Lady Jaclyn and I will be here tomorrow with our episode 2 of Science and the Soul. And tomorrow we are going to literally talk about what we do, human design and intuiting. So listening in from clairvoyance and mediumship and so forth, and give you a little bit of our backstories and how we arrived here and everything, but really to be informative about what it is. What is it to intuit and listen or be clairvoyant? What is the human design system? What are the gates and so forth, and how, and just go in a little deeper about what all that means. So please join us tomorrow and listen in. And as we say, if you're inspired to do so, please reach out to others and tag them or share this, the video and so forth, and expand the tribe and the circle. And thank you all so much for being here and sharing your time with us. We greatly appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. We are so looking forward to joining you guys tomorrow live. Like James has said, I'm also going to be looking at, if you're new to human design, how you actually need to start, or where you need to actually start, because it is a mountain and wealth of information, and I want to kind of lead you practically on the right path. So tune in tomorrow live, same time, same place, on Facebook and on YouTube, both on Dear James and the Lady Jaclyn, and I think also Dear James has got it live on Twitter as well.
Yes.
And then, as always, as we end the show, if you feel called to dive in deeper, we do have the 50-50 offer, which is literally 30 minutes one-to-one with Dear James and 30 minutes one-to-one with myself. We dive into your human design chart, and then Dear James gives you that intuitive guidance. We love you. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. Be kind to yourself and step into your personal power, and stop trying to force things. Just allow things to happen and take breaths. Take breaths.
Or stop trying to control your soul, because your soul is always going to win. So we'll leave you with that to pondering, because who are you really doing battle with? Oh, myself, but it's my soul, and my soul is going to win. So we love you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.